Hey everybody, this is Daniel from fitnessblender.com here with another workout. Today we're going to be doing an 8-minute abs routine, and we're going through each one of these exercises, just one set each, 8 different exercises, 50 seconds on, and 10 seconds to rest and move on and get ready for that next exercise. So we don't have any equipment for this one whatsoever. This is all body weight driven, and we don't have a warm-up or a cool down, so you want to make sure you get at least a little bit of warm-up in before we get started. Other than that, we'll be starting up in here in just a second. All right, guys, our first exercise is going to be a knee tuck crunch. So this one, you'll be sitting on your tailbone, legs out in front. For the easier version, you put those hands down on the ground, just extend out, crunch in nice and tight, extend out, try to lean back as far as you can, back in. For the harder version, pick those hands up off the ground, right in front of that chest, makes it a little bit harder for balance, makes that core have to work a little bit harder. Just move nice and slow, and you should be able to keep that balance. If you start trying to move too fast, that's when that balance is gonna start going on you. So try to keep that back relatively flat as you lean back, and a little bit of a crunch forward as you tuck those knees in. Again, if you want it a little bit harder, you can always grab an extra weight, either hold it at your chest or just behind your head for a little more level of difficulty. We're almost done, just a few more seconds to go. And let it relax. All right, we're gonna switch to a chest raise real quick. So on your stomach, arms out in front, legs out extended. This is just gonna be your chest, just feet stay on the ground. So start it up, arch up nice and high, back down, a little bit of a hover, right back up again. If you need to make it a little bit easier, you can go ahead and let that chest and hands completely touch on the ground each time. But if you can, try to constantly keep them hovering. Makes that back have to work just a little bit harder. Also, you can make this one harder by holding a weight in those hands as well. Just keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Whatever you do, you don't want to hold your breath. Just a few more seconds to go. Keep going through it. Nice full range of motion as much as you can. Tight squeeze the top. Let it relax. I'm going to switch over to an oblique crunch. So laying flat out on your side, on your left side, legs stacked, one hand kind of kicked in front, about a 45-degree angle. Crunch up towards those feet and slowly back down. Keep those feet hovering. Crunch it up. Try to pull that shoulder down into that hip. Trying to keep your weight more on your waist than on your hip. So if you feel like you're coming up onto that hip, then lean back a little bit more. Crunching down to that hip, bring those legs up as high as you can, rather than trying to bring those shoulders up as high as you can. Just keep those core muscles nice and tight the entire time. Keep those lungs open. If you want a specific breathing pattern, it's going to be exhale on the way up, inhale on the way down. Otherwise, just keep it slow and try to keep that range of motion as much as you can. Just a few seconds left to go. We're going to be doing this same exact exercise on the other side. And go ahead and let it relax. Go and switch sides. Same exact position, hand kicked out, about a 45 for balance, other hand up on top of that hip, and start it. Squeeze that shoulder up towards that hip or down into that hip. Just make sure you're getting a nice full range of motion, as much range of motion as you can, but without coming up onto that actual hip joint. Just keep those lungs open, tight squeeze. Remember, if you want that specific breathing, it's exhale on the way up, inhale on the way down. You want to feel like you're actually trying to reach down towards your feet, and to help you stay up on those hips, make sure you're reaching kind of towards the back of your leg rather than towards the front. And let that relax. Got Jackknife Crunch coming up next. Flat out on your stomach, or sorry, on your back. Hands above your head, legs straight out. Contract those abs, bring them straight up, crunch up towards those toes, and slowly back down. Keep a little bit of a hovering with those legs and hands. Right back up. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Keep those abdominal muscles pulled in nice and tight. Press that lower back to that mat. Every single time you come up to those toes, you can have a little bit of a bend in those knees if you have to, if you have pretty tight hamstrings. Otherwise, try to keep them as straight as you possibly can, crunching up towards those toes as high as possible. Just a few more seconds to go. You're going to be flipping over onto your stomach for the next one. And switch it nice and quick. Over onto your stomach. Again, arms and legs will be straight out. You're going to be doing a swimmer, so it's going to be left hand, right foot, squeeze them up, and then alternate back and forth. Keep them hovering the entire time. Nice, big, full range of motion. If you're having a little bit of trouble with the motion on those arms and legs, keeping it consistent, just slow down a little bit. Keep that lower back contracted, kind of pulling that chest up just a little bit. Keep those lungs open, don't hold your breath. Contract through that thigh and make sure that leg stays nice and straight. Just keep those lungs open. Keep that motion going. Just a few seconds left. And let it relax. Gonna roll onto your tailbone. We've got a Russian twist next. So up on that tailbone, legs kicked out, away from you just a little bit, back perfectly flat, arms in front of your chest. Rotate nice and slow, left to right. Make sure that as you start getting tired, you don't let your lower back round. You want to keep it perfectly flat. Constantly rotating left to right, nice slow controlled motion. Just keep those lungs open, don't hold your breath. Your body's going to be constantly trying to get you to hold your breath to try to brace your abdominal muscles, your core muscles. So if you actually keep your lungs open and breathe normally, you're actually making those core muscles have to work harder. Nice slow range of motion. The further you lean back, the harder it's going to be. The further you lean forward, the easier it's going to be. Just pick a version that's going to be hardest for you, but you can still control a nice clean form. And let that one relax. We have one exercise left. This is going to be a traditional plank, so you're going to be facing straight down, elbow underneath shoulder. And pull those hips up, nice straight line. Try not to let those hips come up too high. You don't want to stick that butt up in the air. You want to try to just keep a nice straight line from shoulder to ankle. Keep those abdominal muscles pulled in nice and tight. Don't let your lower back round. You want to keep those abs tight, pull them in just a little bit. Keep those lungs open. Don't hold that breath. Just keep that position nice and steady. Keep concentrating on those core muscles. Make sure that lower back's not starting to round. Make sure those hips aren't starting to kick up in the air. Almost done. And let it relax. All right, that was our last exercise. If you want to go on and do another routine, that's perfectly fine. If not, just go ahead and do a cool down and you're done. Either way, this workout is complete. Good job, guys. See you next time.